What's going on, everybody? Paddle and Fin has got a meetup going down October 16th through 18th at Eastport Marina and Resort in Alpine, Tennessee, which falls right on Dale Hollow. What we're going to be doing is just hanging out, fishing. Depending on the number of people that show up and the interest, we may do a small tournament. We will have some stuff to give away. Saturday evening, we're going to do a hangout and a little barbecue action. We'll have food for everybody. If you're looking for lodging, you could stay right at the resort. It's $50 per person per night. And what you get is your own personal bedroom on a houseboat, luxury houseboat, courtesy Eastport Marina. That's a special price they gave us to lend to our listeners. If you want more info on the resort, you can go to eastport.info and their website will pop up there. You'll see all the houseboats and things like that. A majority of our hosts are going to be there, and we would love to spend some time on the water with you.
This segment is brought to you by JigMasters Jigs. When in doubt, get the jig out. Go to JigMasters.com and use promo code PNF20 and save 20% off your next jig order today.
Welcome to the Bass Kayak and Beer segment on the Paddle and Fin Network. It's your host Armando Solan, and on this segment we kick back with a special guest and talk about life, kayak fishing, and the pursuit of big bass. So get your cold brews on and enjoy the show. Okay, welcome once again, guys, to the Bass Kayak and Beers Network presented by Douglas Rods. Go to douglasoutdoors.com to check out their full lineup of rods, amazing rods. So today I have a very special guest, somebody that I look up to when it comes to social media. I think one of the great ambassadors when it comes to social media for not only fishing, but especially for kayak fishing. I'd like to welcome Mr. That Bass Fishing Dude. Man, how are you today?
I'm doing good, man. I'm glad to be here, man. Thank you for having me.
I appreciate it. I've been looking forward to having you on my show, and I know you're super busy. You're always doing a lot of great stuff. You and I have talked before, man, since I started on social media, and you were never shy to, give advice and, and reach out. And whenever I had a question about social media and stuff like that, I remember I would ask you, and you would immediately text me back whenever you had a chance and give me your 2 cents on it, with respect, So I've been meaning ever since I started my podcast, I've always had you on my mind to bring you up to the show, man. So I want to thank you, first of all, for coming into the show and taking time out for this, man. Really appreciate it.
Hey, man, I appreciate you having me, man. Like you said, I mean, it's just, the stars just hadn't aligned yet, but we're here today, man, and I'm absolutely pumped to be here. I'm glad to be here, and I'm grateful for the continued support from not only you but from everyone. I mean, it's been an amazing journey, man. This past 2 years has been pretty awesome for me, and I'm looking forward to the future and what it brings, and just continuing to climb that ladder. Slow and easy gets the worm, and not chasing anything crazy, just taking it a day at a time.
Awesome, man. So we're going to be talking a lot about social media and kind of like dispel any kind of not rumors, I would say, but kind of like misconception about social media and the growth of the social media and how it plays out. I know there's a lot of people that are not like fully into it, and that's fine. A lot of people just want to do kayak fishing,
yep.
And that's it. But a lot of us, as fishermen, we all like to brag about what we caught. So social media is kind of like, it's great for us as fishermen and kayak fishermen, because we like to show off our kayaks too. So it's a great opportunity to talk about that. I know you, like I said, you're one of the, to me, a great ambassador, both for the kayak fishing community when it comes to the social media. But go ahead, man. Tell us a little bit about yourself. I know we know you as That Bass Fishing Dude, but for those that know you, what's your name? How you got into fishing? How you got into kayak fishing? And how you got to this onto the social media side of it?
Gotcha. So yeah, obviously, my persona, That Bass Fishing Dude. My government name is Brandon Mays. I'm originally from Temple, Texas, born and raised. A Texan thoroughbred through and through, and I've really been fishing my whole entire life. It's been a kind of a crazy thing to get where I am today. Just through a lot of the different things that I've been throughout life. I was in the military for about 9 years, and I got injured in Iraq and Afghanistan, and I got medically retired back in 2013. And that kind of started my transition point for, finding something therapeutic, to do,
Mhm.
to kind of keep me sane, I guess you could say. I've done everything. I was a huge sneakerhead back in the day, collecting sneakers all the way from, being 14 up to, my mid 30s. I'm 35 now. And woodworking. I mean, you name it. I'm a very hobby oriented kind of person. Very mechanically oriented guy, and I'm great with my hands. And I'm pretty much a really efficient self starter. Somebody that can, if I see it, I can do it pretty much. This fishing thing. Again, I fished my whole entire life, but not to the extent that I fish today. Um, I grew up fishing with my dad, fishing with my mom and my aunt, and my uncle, it's, but a different style of fishing. The fishing that a lot of people are, grow up doing is, your standard worm fishing. You throw a line out there, you sit and you wait, learning how to be patient, because like my kids, I take them fishing now, and they're all about, wanting to reel it in and check the line and do all this other stuff. And it's like, no, you got to throw that out there and you got to sit and you got to wait. So it's a little bit different with bass fishing, and so, I went to college when I got out of the military because I just didn't have time to do it while I was in the military. And I met some, outside of being in the military, you make a lot of really cool relationships and you build a lot of great friendships with people in the military, so it was really refreshing to meet some people that were really awesome, throughout my years in college as well after the military. And I met a good buddy of mine named David, my boy Bo. He lives up in Sherman or Bonham. And we I found out, he loved to bass fish. It was crazy. We were sitting around one day just talking. He brought up fishing, and I was like, hey man, I didn't know you fish. He was sending me these crazy pictures of just this monster bass that he was catching. I'm just like, golly, dude. And then, you know, it's crazy, a lot of people, they talk about the Guggen squad, you think about the Guggens and what they are today and, where they've come from and how they've gotten to where they are. And, a lot of people were inspired by the Guggens, and I can honestly say that I was one of those as well. I was highly inspired by, Justin Rackley, Lake Fork guy.
Yeah.
Early on, he was one of the very first YouTubers as far as fishing goes that I even started watching whenever it came to trying to learn how to fish for bass, because I had never caught a bass in my entire life. When you're worm fishing, you pretty much just catch whatever is going to eat that worm while it's out there. I mean, you're here in Texas, you pull up a catfish, you can get a gasper goo, your freshwater drum, big ugly dumb fish, bluegill or brim or the Texas perch.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, never had really caught a bass, or if I had, it's not something that I remember ever catching anything like, monstrous, to the extent of some of the fish that I've caught, to this point. But again, I was, sitting around one day just watching, Justin Rackley, Lake Fork guy, and he was fishing a chatterbait. I'll never forget this. I've had this conversation with him a couple times actually. And I was like, you really inspired me to get into this whenever he was fishing this. It was a Fire Tiger chatterbait with a Lake Fork Trophy Lures swim bait on the back of it. And, he was fishing a pond, he was, just bank fishing a pond right here, somewhere around here where I live. And it was crazy, he pulls out this just monstrous, like 4.5, 5 pounder. And I'm just like, golly, so I'm having this talk with my buddy Bo, and we're just like, man, dude, it's like, I could do that. I can make YouTube videos, and I could go out here and I can catch fish, I could do that. And he was like, man, well, let's do it. You know what I'm saying? Do it. He's like, because it's something that he wanted to do as well. He's got a young daughter, same age as mine. And he was just like, man, just do it. And so I was like, man, I'm going to think about it. And I think about a week or two went by, and I think I called him one day, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to do it, man. I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to go buy me a fishing rod, and I'm going to buy me a GoPro, and I'm going to start making YouTube videos. That's what I'm going to do. And so that's what I did. I went out, I bought me a black Abu Garcia Black Max combo.
Yeah.
Like, I swear
Classic.
by that thing, man. I love it. I'm an Abu guy to the core. Everybody out here is using the Shimano and, Luz and everything else. But man, Abu Garcia makes some great stuff. I'm not sponsored or anything by them, but I love their products. But so, I bought me an Abu Garcia Black Max combo, bought me a little GoPro Hero Session 4, found it on eBay for like $10. And bought the little chesty and all that stuff. And I went out and I started pond hopping, man. And I couldn't catch a fish to save my life. It took me like weeks of just going out every single day. Here in my own neighborhood. There's probably about 6 ponds and a golf course here in my neighborhood. So I'm out every day, just beating up the bank. Can't figure it out for the life of me, man. Just, trying everything. My wife will tell you, man, I've literally bought every plastic Bass Pro Shops had, Academy. I'm loaded down. I had enough plastic in here, man. I couldn't even tell you.
I'm sure she loves that you spend that much money.
Absolutely hated it, because every time I'd go out, like every time we'd go to the store, like Walmart or wherever, I'd grab something else. And she's like, why do you keep buying all this plastic? She's like, you got all these plastic baits at home. Excuse me. Why do you keep buying all these soft plastics? She put me on restriction, basically told me I was not allowed to buy any more soft plastics. But so I ended up hitting this pond up here on the front side of my neighborhood. And I tied on a chatterbait. I had a Z-Man chatterbait, black and blue, and I put a tube on it, a blue tube with a chartreuse, like, trailer tails on it, the little streamers off of it. Dude, I smoked a 4-pounder out of that pond, man, on that chatterbait. Nice. And that was my first bass.
On a chatterbait?
On a chatterbait, man. It was crazy. Man. It was like it kind of came full circle for me. And it was pretty crazy, man, when I caught that fish, because it was, for one, the biggest bass I'd ever caught, because it was my first bass. But to catch a bass that big, just on the first shot is pretty amazing, in my mind. So, that's kind of where it all kind of started. I started out beating the bank. I started out with the pond hopping thing. And, I did that for a good while. I started, making YouTube videos. My very first YouTube video I posted, I didn't catch a single fish, nothing at all. Like
I saw that. I was going through your videos today and I saw that one.
Yeah, man. I went out sweltering hot sun, middle of the summer, man, cooking to death out there, man. Middle of the day, and didn't catch a thing. But I posted the video, you got to bring the good with the bad, So it was, I didn't know, it was I was asking my brother. I sent it to everybody I knew. I was like, hey man, check out this video. Tell me what you think. And then I sent it to my boy Bo. He's like, man, you ain't catch no fish. And then he's like, you're not talking in the video. He's like, why are you so quiet? I was like, well, I don't know. What do I say? He's like, I don't know. Talk about what you're doing. So I was like, all right, cool. I'll implement that in my next video. So my second video, I was talking more. I set up a different camera angle. Just a bunch of different things. Kind of just to improve on the scenery. I would jump on YouTube and see what other guys were doing. Back then it was nowhere near as many people fishing as it is now. With the coronavirus, pandemic situation we got currently going on, people out of work, a lot of people don't have anything to do, so a lot of people are fishing now. It's a great thing. It's amazing that there's so many people out and fishing. But yeah, whenever I was, first starting like this, there was nobody really doing this other than, the Guggen Squad and the handful of guys here in Texas that were doing it as well. But yeah, man, it was just really crazy. And like I said, I posted that first video, didn't catch a single fish, but when I finally got my first one, that was kind of what kind of kicked this whole thing off, man. And it kind of just took off from there. And then I moved into the kayak scene about, I can't even tell you how long after that, 6, 7, 8 months after that. Yeah. And that's kind of where I am today, man. Just living that yak life.
Not looking back now.
Yeah, man. And it's crazy too. Cause like, I got a lot of people, that's another thing, we kind of go back to, the pandemic, and, there's a lot of people out here fishing now, which is a great thing. Yeah. But it's, something that I try to, push across to people, especially from my platform, being a kayak angler. I wasn't always a kayak angler, but I do know that, here in Texas, man, there's water everywhere. But you've got thousands of people here in Texas that are fishing. Yeah. So, these guys are out here beating up these neighborhood ponds, these little retention ponds here and there all over the city. And like, they are literally like just over pressuring these spots because there's so many people fishing. These guys, you can't buy a GoPro anywhere because everybody's filming YouTube videos now. And, it's something, again, nothing against any of these guys or any of these people that are out here doing that. Is like, but I try to, get people to understand that, get you a kayak, get out there and explore some bigger water. Anybody can go to a pond and catch fish. We typically fish ponds out of convenience, because it's something close you can get to, there's fish in there. You don't have to do a lot to catch them. And, obviously it feels good to feel that tug, you know what I mean? Yeah. But the only way you can really solidify that skill set is by actually going out and putting those skills to the test on bigger water, and the only way you can really, successfully traverse bigger water is by getting some type of watercraft, whether that's a John boat, a kayak, a little inflatable, a paddleboard, whatever it may be, something that's going to be able to get you out into the water and let you get out there and explore some bigger stuff to really do that. Because I mean, that's where you'll really see how hard it is to fish. I mean, I can't even tell you, man, like I go out all the time, dude, and I get skunked all the time. People don't see that because whenever, when you think about the aspect of people that, are content creators that are uploading videos on a regular basis, I mean, that video is really just a highlight reel. A lot of people don't even really show the bad, I mean, me, I do. I show the bad with the good, I backlash because I'm human. It happens I backlash a reel every time I go out, every single time I go out. And it's like, it doesn't matter how much tuning I do to my reels, I backlash a reel every time I go out, but it lets people know that, hey, I'm a human too. I make mistakes, that's one thing. That's why I really love Greg Blanchard, because, if you're not familiar with Greg Blanchard, he's a huge kayak tournament angler, but Greg, he shows that good with the bad, it's like he goes out, he has terrible days. He'll spend 8 hours on the water and won't catch a single thing, but he still puts out that video to let you know, hey, this is fishing. I mean, this is real life. This is how it goes. It's not always go out here and slam them every time you hit the water. But I mean, that's kind of off subject, off topic. But I mean, there's
it brings up a good point that I wanted to add, because I remember when you started, and again, I started watching your videos on kind of around the time that not that I started already there, but kind of around the time you and John B went fishing.
Yep.
And one thing that I respected about you that you mentioned on one of your, I can't remember, it was a live shout or just an Instagram story, that you said, I just don't want to be a guy that's going to ponds and fishing ponds. Yeah. Like I don't want to do the same thing everybody else is doing. And and I'm not, obviously it's not a shot at John B.
Of course.
That guy's been in Africa, for crying out loud. But I respected a lot of that about you, that you said, I'm not just going to stick to ponds, because the reality is, man, in Texas, look, I fish, you're from Texas. You're in Plano now, right?
I live in Wiley.
Oh, you're Wiley. Okay. So here in Dallas, like the DFW Metroplex, you go behind a Walmart at 121.
Dude,
I've caught 3 or 4 pounders, 18 inches on a little creek that's 3 feet deep, at the most 10 feet wide.
It's crazy, man.
Anywhere in Texas, you're gonna catch I mean, it's crazy. The like, no creek is small enough here.
I'm telling you, man, it's insane. It's insane. It is absolute insanity. And yeah, man, there's literally not anywhere that you can't go out here. I mean, if there's water, there's fish in there. I mean, it doesn't matter where it is. Like, I've pulled off the highway and fished like small retention ponds, like you name it, man. It's absolutely insane. Like, and that's one of the big things. One of my monikers, TBFD gang, and what that kind of represents to me. It's about seeking that adventure. Going out here and chasing that adventure. Not just, don't just go do this because it's easy or because it's convenient. Like me and Charlie dropped into a creek over here in Richardson, man, that I'm not even joking you. Like my kayak with nothing in it weighs 105 pounds. With nothing in it, just the boat itself weighs 105 pounds. We literally put our kayaks in this creek. We had to climb down 20-foot walls to get into this creek.
Damn.
Yeah, man. Insanity. But that's the thing. It's like, and mind you, it was like 50 degrees outside. It was cold as all get out. The water was like 20 degrees. It was insane. Whenever, matter of fact, the Creeker video that I did, that video was that where we dropped into this creek. We had to climb down these 20-foot walls, these heavy kayaks full of gear to get into this creek to see what it was about. And we floated that creek and paddled that creek probably 7 miles, in both directions. So it's like, go out and chase and seek that adventure, because it's out there if you're willing to go get it, and that's one of the big things about John B that I love, man. I'm a huge fan of John's stuff. I talk to John not pretty regularly, but every now and again I talk to him. Yeah. And, again, he is all about fishing. You know, that dude is a fisherman to the core. You know, he is an adventurist to the absolute core. You know, it also helps. You know, he's got an amazing videographer that works with him.
Oh
Alex
yeah.
is a absolute beast, man. That's another one of the homies. And you know, I aspire to get my content to look the way that John's does, just because.
And that quicker video that you had, by the way, I sorry to interrupt, but I have to give you a shout out for that, because that quicker video, you skunk, and I see that with respect, because you said on the video, you skunk, but you still managed to pull off, what is it, like a 7-minute beautifully shot, beautifully edited, and beautifully I forgot the name, the word I'm looking for, narrated. God, where my English for a
No,
second?
you're good,
But anyway. But I thought it was a great video, and it shows the quality that you have behind doing a content creation. Anyways, I'm sorry I interrupted you, but I wanted to give you a shout out for that video, because I thought that video was awesome. Even though you didn't catch anything, I thought the editing, narrating the video, the shots were awesome. It was kind of like, I thought I was watching to a certain degree that John B's style kind of video. And I do mean with respect. When I say style, I mean the quality of it.
I got you, man. I really appreciate that.
Which to me is like, say what you say about, you know, people can say whatever they want and feel however they feel about the Cooking Squad and this whole thing. But there's no doubt the quality, the editing that John B is putting out there is, as far as YouTube goes, I've seen cable TV shows about fishing that are not half as good as far as the quality
100%
of it than what he's doing. That kid is doing an amazing job. Whether 100%. It's him or Alex, both of them working together, it's amazing.
It's both of
quality.
them. It's both of them. And the thing is, it's like, you know, when me and John went fishing, and you know, Alex is obviously there, he's filming and everything like that. I tell everybody that talks about you know, when I talk to them about this, and I mean this 100%, man. Like if you could imagine like watching the two of them work together, you know, because I'm fishing, you know, it was John's first, you know, couple days back in Texas from being in Maine for, you know, no, he wasn't even in Maine. I think this is when he had just got back from Sudan, and he had only been back in Texas a few days, and you know, they had been out skunking, just getting skunked every single day. He was really trying to get on a good bite, you know, to film that first good video of his first day back in Texas, you know, that first Texas bass after his last trip. And, you know, I was talking to Alex, and they were like, yeah, man, we're just, you know, really just trying to, you know, get on some good fish. He's like, man, we've been going out every single day. We were out, you know, 7 hours yesterday, didn't catch anything. And I was like, well, I got a spot that we can go to, and I guarantee you I can put John on a big fish. You know, I can put him on a great fish. And they were like, let's do it then. So cool. So we get out there, and it was like, you know, mind you, you know, it was awesome to be able to fish with him while being out there, but it was also a really great learning experience for me, because I was just sitting back, you know, just me and just kind of hanging back in the background. You know, I'm fishing, you know, trying to catch a fish and everything like that, but I'm really just watching and observing. And if you can imagine what it would be like to sit and watch Picasso paint a picture, I'm not even kidding, man. Like, I tell this to anybody that asks me about it. Like, that's what I attribute that experience to. Like, watching the two of them work together. It was insane, man. Like, it was absolutely inspiring. You know, I mean, just to see how they bounce ideas off of each other whenever they're, you know, Alex is looking to get a specific shot or John wants to get something specific. You know, they're so cohesively bonded together when it comes to that, man. That's why they're able to put out such great content together. And, you know, John is able to convey and portray the stories that he wants to tell, because Alex is the man behind the camera. You know, John is filming sometimes, you know, with his GoPro and things like that. And when John does his solo videos and everything like that, it's just him. But whenever he does these big sins, or even, you know, the camp cloth stuff and things like that, even those videos are really, really high quality, because that's Alex behind that, you know, that editing, man. Alex is a beast. The dude is an absolute beast when it comes to editing, filmography, videography, and things like that. He has a way of he has a really good eye for that, and a really good eye for conveying the story that you want to tell through film. And, you know, through sound design and things like that, because everything fits. And it's crazy, man. Like, that's something that I aspire, you know, to have my content look like. And, you know, that's, you know, another big thing is because I know people, you know, they're always asking, man, why don't you upload videos? Why do you never upload anything? Well, you know, and my thing is I'm a quality over quantity type person. It's not, I could post a video every single day if I wanted to. It's about it being redundant and boring to me. I mean, there's 300 million people out here that are fishing and making YouTube videos right now. And, again, this is nothing against any of them, but what makes any of their videos different from the next guy's videos?
Yeah.
And, that is, a thing that I don't want to fall into, is being like the next guy. I don't want to look just like the next guy down the road that's doing the same thing, or that's fishing or whatever. I would rather upload, one quality video every month or every month and a half versus 30 videos of this literally me doing the exact same thing in every single video, one day a week, every day of the week. That to me, that's boring. Because I mean, there was a time, whenever I was fishing ponds and things like that, before I really got into kayak angling, that's when this whole mindset and mentality kind of started for me. Is because, dude, I'm not even kidding. I probably had enough GoPro footage. I'm not even joking, of like 30 some odd videos. And I was just like scrolling through all this stuff, looking through it on my computer. And I was like, man, every bit of this looks the exact same. Like it doesn't, I'm doing the same thing in every video. I'm just at a different location. And I was like, this is boring. Like I'm saying this to myself as I'm looking through my own footage. I was like, I'm catching fish. And I mean, I get it. Some people just like to watch people catch fish. I understand. A lot of people just love to go on YouTube and just watch people catch fish. And, I plan on uploading videos like that as well. But, for me,
be a balance.
Yeah, it has to be a balance, man. Like you're in my mind, in my opinion, your content has to provide value to your viewers. If you're just posting the same, video in a different location, same type of thing, and every single thing in your video is the exact same as the last one, like what value is that giving your viewers? It's not giving them anything. And eventually, that viewage hype will burn out. You'll start to lose engagement and things like that, because people are going to be like, oh, it's just the same stuff. Like this is, oh, it's cool, but are you going to do something different? What's new? What are you going to do to make yourself stand out from the rest of them? And that's kind of where I look at it. That's why I've never really aspired to be a YouTuber, because I mean, there's so much more, to content creation than just YouTube,
hours of editing too.
Oh man, it takes so much time, like that. Even if for my catch and cook video that I just posted, like that video,
crappie tacos.
Oh my God, man, them crappie tacos. Hey man, they were
those crappie tacos are amazing,
unbelievably good. But it took me like an hour and a half to edit that little 4.5, 5 minute video. When you think about it, I mean, a 5 minute video took me an hour and a half to edit. I mean, that's a lot of time. I mean, when you think about it, if I had because I have some videos from that same day that I do need to edit and upload. But I mean, when you think about, uploading and editing a 20-minute video, I mean, you're talking about hours of your time. It takes a lot. That's why I understand and see why videographers, make so much money from doing this. Because I mean, it does take a lot of work.
And that's an interesting point, because I think, the obviously John B is an outliner. I mean, the guy's Africa, Iceland, Brazil, touring the whole U.S., has done 2 tours, Devil's River. You go on and on and on about what this guy's got. He's an outliner. Only one person only one person that I know can really do that, travel as much, and obviously he doesn't have kids.
And he's young.
Family.
He's young. He's only like 24.
And he's putting to work. So let's be realistic. That is less than a 1%er of what YouTube is out there. What we usually see on YouTube, with that exception of John B, is like a lot of people doing the same thing over and over and over again, which is fishing. Granted, not all of us have the resources or the time off to do what John B does. But what would you say is, and that you would recommend somebody to, hey, if you want to do this YouTube, what is it that they should be looking to? And I know you touched on it a little bit, but let's be more specific about standing out. And why I want to make a real point out of this is because, unfortunately, and we've seen this in the past, the way to stand out is throwing kind of like an outrageous clickbait that has nothing to do with fishing.
Stay away from the content.
And that gets you to like and at least the viewerships and the comments, because everybody is either mad at what you did or mad about what the other person you had that encounter with did. So what do you recommend young YouTubers or aspiring YouTubers? And I know you don't aspire to YouTubers, but you have worked with John B. I know you work with Robert Turklu. You mentioned it yourself with Lake Fork guys. So you've been around that community. You've worked with Catch Co. People are for young anglers out there that are looking to, hey, I want to see if I can do this. What would you recommend? What do you think they should take in consideration? What should they do to stand out from the rest and still be responsible?
You have to give yourself your own identity. You have to create your own identity in this space. I mean, when you think about the outdoor market, the outdoor industry, fishing industry, and things like that, there's a lot of people in this industry. I mean, it's something that is growing and continuing to grow on an extremely rapid pace. And again, with current circumstances in the climate of the country and the world that we live in at the current moment, there's a lot of people that are out there fishing, that are out there filming videos and doing a lot of outdoor related stuff. So with that, if you are going to do it, you have to find ways to give your content its own sense of identity. Mm-hmm. There's so many times I've scrolled through, the Explore page, and I get obviously I follow fishing content, so I get a lot of fishing content on my Explore page, and I'll be looking at pictures and things like that. And a lot of the stuff looks the same. Like, it literally looks like it's coming from one account, but it'll be coming from 20 different accounts. And what's happening is people are modeling their account after their favorite YouTuber, favorite Instagram influencer, whatever it may be. And the problem with that is that you lose your sense of identity. You at that point, you don't look like you look like somebody else. So, when companies or potential partnership opportunities arise, you got people that are on the Explore page that are looking for potential people to work with. They may come across your content and they're going to ignore it because they may have already looked at so and so and they may be like, oh, he's not a good fit, or she's not a good fit for whatever we're trying to do. But if your content looks just like theirs, your stuff is going to get ignored. So what I try to tell people to do is create, make your photos and videos look a certain way. Like with me, like if you look at my feed, nobody else's feed, the way that my pictures are edited or anything out there, nobody else's stuff looks like that. But at the same time, but the thing about it is that all of that didn't come just from my own doing. I've taken inspiration from other guys out there in the industry that take really amazing photography, that take really great pictures and they edit really amazing videos. I've taken little hints of things that, JD Blackmore and, there's a couple other guys out there that, that I follow pretty hardcore that take really amazing pictures. And it's like, you can take little hints of this and little hints of that and little hints of this and tweak this a little bit to, add your own little spin on it, and you make it your own, you know what I mean? But, you don't have to take exactly what A is doing, take all those elements and then just repost that, but on your own photo, because now your photo looks just like, oh, buddy over here. It doesn't give you your own sense of identity. And then also on top of that, a lot of guys out here that, are wanting to grow, a social media page and things like that, as far as, from fishing goes, they think it's all about the fish. It's really not. when you really get down to it, everybody loves a picture of somebody holding a big old fish. Everybody loves a picture of somebody holding a fish. But some of these guys, like, a lot of these newer guys that are coming into it, and people that are wanting to start this, you'll go look at their page and literally every single picture is a picture of them holding a fish. Every picture. And it'll be them, it may be an awkward looking picture. It may be that same old handheld holding it out, take a picture of it hanging over the water, whatever it may be. It may just be that one hanging up in front of them with a selfie, all kinds of different stuff. Not to say that there's anything wrong with those photos, but
balance again.
Balance and being creative, like think outside of the box, find ways to be creative with your photography. You don't always have to take the same exact picture every single time. Like, we get it. You catch big fish. There's something I told Torrance, really early on, Pond Boys, because, because I listened to his podcast, and I was like, it was true. I told him, I was like looking at his feed and everything like that. Cause me and Torrance are cool. That's my boy. And I told him, I was like, bro, your feed, dude, I was like, dude, you catch really big fish. I was like, there's no doubt about it. You catch a lot of big fish, and you do it constantly. But your feed looks just like 50 other people's feeds that's out there on the Explore page right now. There's 50 other Texas anglers out here right now in Texas that I can name off the top of my head. Your feed looks exactly like theirs. And I was like, I'm not saying that, to be rude or mean or anything like that, but nothing about your page stands out. And I was like, you have to change that. And he did get mad. He did.
Yeah, he told me.
We were on the phone.
I'm trying to remember if we mentioned it on the show.
He did. He said it on the show. Because he did get mad. He did. Yeah. He was like, he was like, F you, bro. Like, blah, blah, blah. And like, we're talking on the phone. I was like, look, man, I'm not trying to say it to be mean. He's like, no, on the cool, you're right, dude. He's like, I'm scrolling through it right now, and I'm looking at it, and I'm like, dang, bro, you are absolutely right. And from that day forward, he started making changes to, the type of content that he was posting and uploading, and he had a decent sized following at that time. I think he was sitting right around 5 or 6 or 7,000. He was a decent sized page at that point. And, he was like, I'm not really getting any brand opportunities or anything like that. Nobody's really reaching out to me to work with me to do anything. And I was like, well, a lot of that has to do with the type of content that you're posting. Is like, when you think about, your ability to represent a brand in a marketable way for them, which is beneficial for not only them, but beneficial for you, you have to be able to stand out above the rest. You have to be able to put out content that's quality, that's going to provide value for not only your followers, but for their brand as a whole, so, you have to think about that, think about things that you post before you post them, because everything that you think is awesome as far as a post goes is not awesome to everybody else. You can't post for you, you have to post for your followers, for the brand partnerships and the sponsors that you have to post for them. It's not always about what you think looks really good. You got to think about what's going to look good to them, what's going to be marketable for them. And he was like, dang, man, I never even thought about it like that. He's like, because, dude, I know I've posted some crazy stuff that is like, this stuff should be doing absolute numbers, and it doesn't. And it's like, well, yeah, it's because you posted it for you. It's not always about what you think is going to be successful in the market. It's all about, what is truly marketable to your followers and things like that. And he made those changes, man, and it substantially upped his game, substantially.
That's a good point that you touched on, because it's funny. My Instagram account, and I remember I reaching out to you about it, and you gave me advice. And then at the same time, there's something that each one has to kind of do search internally. Do you really want to do this?
Most definitely.
Because I went to a point when you told me about it, you said, take 5 posts a day, do this, do that. And then it came to a point, it's like, do I really want to do this? And then you have to realize you can't have your cake and eat it too. If you want to get followers, if we're going to notice, you're going to have to do some things that you may be out of your comfort zone. I'm not saying anything, bad, but I'm just saying maybe you're going to do stuff that you find yourself, oh, this is stupid. This is, this is all, or whatever, millennial stuff, whatever. And you feel that, you don't want to be ridiculed and all that.
Yep.
You have to figure out what is it that you want to do. I came to a realization and said, man, I want to do fishing. My thing was like, I want to do the podcast.
Yep.
And my social media is, even though I want to grow it, it's like, I want people to understand I have a podcast, and this is what my social media is for, to track traffic. And there's different ways to going about it. But it's that point where you have to realize, if you want to get the followers, you have to think outside the box. You're gonna have to do all the things that other people are gonna ridicule and say, oh, that's stupid, that's lame, oh, that's ridiculous. It is for them, but that's what other people like, because the other people that are watching on Instagram, they just see the pictures. They don't see all the rest that you're doing behind the camera that other people around you, your friends, your family, or just people walking by find ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's like that Instagram videos that show influence in the wild, kind of makes fun of influencers doing posts. And I think it's funny.
Yeah, it is.
Because it's funny, but it's one of those things where you have to think about it. Do you really want to, put yourself out there? You have to be to a certain point, you're going to feel vulnerable doing all this stuff because it's stuff that you ordinarily wouldn't do when you're out kayak fishing. Now, if you do want to do, and I say kayak fishing because that's what the podcast is about, it could apply to anything, to fishing or whatever you want to do in life. If all you want to do is go out and fish and learn how to fish and hear stories, then that's fine. But then you have to realize you can't play the game and not think that you're going to have the same results as people that put in the work. Yep. A lot of people think, and that's one of the myth about it, that guys like the Google Squad and everything are just, doing stuff, just being taking selfies and all that. And what they don't understand, and you do, is that there's a lot of stuff and a lot of sacrifices you have to do behind the lens, behind all these pictures. There's a lot of stuff that you have to go out there. You don't know how hard it is to catch fish, especially in Texas on summer. And yet you have to go out there and find a fish to make a video, and then spend hours editing. It's not that easy. People just, it's not all fun and games. It's not a lot of hard work.
It really is, and it's two parts to that. It's not always just about, do you really want to do this? But it's like when you make that commitment to do it, you can't forget why you want to do it. And that's another big thing that I think a lot of people don't really understand is like, for guys like me and, the other guys out here, the Torrances and, the other guys that are making, this content thing and building stuff like this, building brands and things like that, is why you want to do this at the end of the day. And you can't forget why you want to do it because, there's a reason behind all of it. And you should have a clear-cut reason of why you want to do it, because I think a lot of people lose sight of that really quickly. The numbers start adding up. Your platform starts blowing up, and you get a lot of these guys out here that they get really, really big, really, really fast, and things kind of stop working for them. And it's like they get lost. Kind of in the numbers sometimes. That's one thing for me is that I've never really chased the number. I don't care about reaching a specific, milestone number by any certain date or time or anything like that, because to me, at the end of the day, it's not about the number. My goal is to build a reputable, platform, that people can trust and count on the things that I tell them and say, and the things that they see me doing on my platform, that they can trust that what I'm doing is the right thing, and that's what I want to build on. I don't want, it'd be great to have 200,000 followers or 500,000 followers, but if I had 1 million followers that don't really care about what I'm doing, or they don't really believe in what my vision is, then what value is that 1 million followers at the end of the day? Like if I had 1,000 true believers behind me, if I just had 1,000 followers, but each and every one of those 1,000 followers were a diehard TBFD fan, then that 1,000 followers is more valuable than any 1 million followers that there could ever be. And I think that's where a lot of people get lost in. They get lost in that number, and they're like, oh man, I got to get to this milestone. I got to get to this milestone. At the end of the day, it's not about the milestone. It's about building a reputable brand. And that's what, that's what my goal is. And, that's one of the big things, my buddy Charlie, Digital Wells, he helps with all my photography and things like that. Great friend, man. Me and Charlie have an amazing friendship. And I owe a lot to him, man. It's because, he's worked in the marketing industry for decades. That's one of the big things for him. I didn't know a lot about marketing. I work in the cybersecurity field. That's what my actual day job is. A lot of people don't even know that. I got, most people know that I'm married and have kids and things like that. And I work a full-time job outside of this fishing thing and social media. I don't get to fish all day, every single day. That's not, that's something that I would absolutely love to be able to wake up and do on a daily basis. But at the current moment, that's not what happens. I work for Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers at their corporate office, I do cybersecurity, information security, and things like that for them. So, again, me and Charlie are, he's worked in the marketing industry for decades, and, he's been a humongous help to me when it comes to, bringing these ideas that I have in my mind to fruition, because he knows how to strategize and put the pieces into place to tell me what direction I need to go to make something happen. Because we sit and we just brainstorm ideas of where we can take the TBFD brand and how we can expand and what we need to do to get it to the next level and so on and so forth. But he's able to formulate those ideas into a strategy to make it happen so that we can get to that next point. And that's really how I've been able to get from where I was to where I am now. Working with I work with a lot of amazing companies, I have a lot of, and I don't consider them to be sponsorships. I consider them to be partnerships, because I have really amazing relationships with these people. They're not, just, oh, we're going to send you this stuff, or we're going to pay you XYZ to do this for us, blah, 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 blah. Like, these are people that I have conversations with, on a regular basis. I'm talking to them about, content strategies, ways that I can help them, or ways that they can help me. Or these are people that just reach out and just say, hey man, how are you doing? Do you need anything? Is everything going all right with you? How's your family doing? How are you holding up in this, current times, blah, 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 blah. These are the types of relationships with companies that I have, and with the partnerships that I've built, working with some of the best brands in the business, and that's another big thing to me that's been really crazy, is because I never would have thought, 2 years ago when I started this, literally, I literally just passed my 2-year anniversary of doing anything social media related when it comes to fishing. I started the whole TBFD, that bass fishing dude, persona literally started September 17th, 2018.
Nice. Congratulations. So 2 years.
2 years. And it's like 2 years ago, man, I never would have thought that this is where this brand would be, where I would be at the current moment, inspiring, thousands of people to go out here and chase an adventure, go out and purchase a kayak and seek, that next level adventure for themselves when it comes to fishing. I get DMs and emails and all kinds of messages from people all over the world, man. It's absolutely humbling. It's an unbelievable feeling, man, to know and to hear some of the things that people have said to me, man. It's crazy, man, because I never would have thought that I would ever be that much of an inspiration to someone just for me doing something as simple as fishing, and I don't say just something as simple as fishing, but being in the position that I'm in, and given the opportunity that I've been given, being able to be a role model for somebody, or that beacon in the industry for people to look up to, it's an amazing feeling, man. It really is.
That's awesome, man. Let me ask you this. Now, you work closely with Ketch, which to me, we were talking about the pre-show, it's built on the shoulders of the Guggen Squad, which I think it's amazing. The fact that a couple of kids can, just by recording videos, can achieve what they achieved and gotten so far. And that a company can actually go from being nowhere to what it is now. Both Ketch company, which I understand is the umbrella where MTV and Shop Calls, all that was built on the shoulders of these kids. That to me is awesome. Like I said, there's some people that are not fans of it. That's, everybody has the right to their opinion. I respect all of them. I for one think that's awesome. I think it's awesome because it opens the door for other people. It shakes up the industry. You don't have to be KVBT, Kevin Van Dam to sell a product, or Ike, which I love Ike. No disrespect to Ike. But as far as podcast goes, Ike is my hero. Ike live show, I love him. I have the utmost respect for Ike. But the fact that Ike already has built, an empire on his blood, sweat, and tears, just building it from ground up, being an achieved tournament angler, and then popularity and what it is now, versus just a couple of kids that are fishing in YouTube. That's the difference, and that's why I want to go with this. I don't want anybody to misconstrue. I have utmost respect for Ike. Like I say, he's my hero on the podcast. But speaking to this, the fact that there's kids now that are able to build or push a company to the heights where it's rivaling other companies and shaking up the industry. Now, you work closely with Ketch and you work closely with the Guggen Squad. How is that experience with Ketch with it? What is it that people don't get about Ketch?
Man, Ketchco is an amazing company, man, to be honest. And it's not just because I work with them or anything like that. It's the truth. Like, I mean, when you think about it, the ability that a company like that has to bring products to the market, and not just to bring products to the market, but bring quality products to the market, it's an amazing feat, and especially for a company that is not as large as, some of these other bigger companies are. Like when you think about, Strike King and, you know, um, Yum and all these other, big brands that are out there, Ketchco has really made it, really easy for, certain brands and certain people to really be prosperous, when it comes to marketing. And, we're in the digital age,
Yeah.
that's the whole age of the big box is kind of dying, I mean, when you really think about it, it's, a lot of things are going to digital and, online e-commerce and things like that. And Ketchco has the technology and capability to bring stuff like that to light. They have the ability to reach companies, to create and build products. They have the ability to design products, from the ground up. They have the ability to R&D those products from the ground up, go through all of the entire testing and, all of those phases and everything like that. They have the marketing team and marketing strategy to be able to get those products out to the broader audience and sell them and make them successful. And that's one of the things that the Guggen Squad has been able to do is, like, when you think about it, when people think about fishing, they're like, oh, there's usually one side to it is, oh, you're a professional fisherman. Well, at the end of the day, I'm not a professional fisherman. I don't consider myself to be a professional fisherman. I think, when you think pro, most people attribute that to, tournament anglers, when your B Lats, your Mark Daniel Juniors, your Ish Monroes, your Ikes, things like that. Those are your pro fishermen. I think a lot of people attribute it being a professional angler to being a pro tournament angler. But with, what companies like Ketchco, the Guggen Squad, you know, they've opened the doors for, you know, us, social media marketers, because that's what we really are. Is, I mean, when you really think about it, at the end of the day, is we're marketers. When you think social media influencer, you're really a social media marketer. At the end of the day, you're Chad Hoover's. He's not a professional angler, even though he's a tournament, kayak bass fishing tournament angler. He's not a pro. He's a professional marketer. He's a social media marketer. So when you think about social media influence, its reach and its capabilities, I mean, it's digital marketing at the end of the day. And they've been able to open the door for guys like us to be successful, even though we enjoy the aspect of the outdoors and fishing and things like that. That's just a plus, because whenever you partner with a company like Ketchco or the Guggen Squad or Carl's Bait and Tackle, Mystery Tackle Box, 10,000 Fish, Biospawn Lures, whatever it may be, you become a social media asset for them, a marketing asset for them to be able to reach a broad audience that, they may not be able to reach on their own. That's what the Guggens are. The Guggens are social media marketers at the end of the day. They're not professional anglers either. They are social media marketers. And they're really good social media marketers at that. These guys their following is, and I'm not saying this in a bad way, it's almost cultish.
It is
almost cult-like. And, it's a great thing, but at the end of the day, the truth and the fact of the matter is that they do not put out bad products.
They don't.
And I think that's where a lot of people kind of get this, this really bad taste in their mouth, is all these young, dumb punk kids don't really know anything about fishing. All they do is film YouTube videos. They don't know anything about fishing. Blah, blah, blah. These dudes they actually do know a lot about fishing. They're really smart. Rob is a hell of a fisherman. He's a hell of a hunter. Same thing with LFG. John is absolutely a hell of a fisherman.
Yeah.
And Flair, 200%, regardless of how dopey him and Parrot can be.
Yeah.
Those dudes can fish like crazy, and Parrot Flair is a hell of a farmer. This dude he's got his own off-grid homestead he's building out there. Like, the dudes, they're smart, man. They really are. They're young and they're really, really smart. Me being 35, these guys are, in their 20s still. I think about this all the time. I'm like, man, I wish that, I had been into this the way that I am now when I was in the Army, when I was in my 20s. Because, dude, there's no telling where I'd be right now. I'd probably be in a similar position to them. Not saying that I'm unhappy with the position that I'm currently in, because I'm taking it a day at a time. I'm taking the stuff as it comes, because I'm not in a rush. I'm not in a hurry to get anywhere specific. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, cool. I'm still going to fish at the end of the day. I'm still going to create content because I actually enjoy doing it.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, like these guys, they're really, really smart, and they put out really, really good products. They put out very well thought out products too. It's not even, because the thing about it is, and the truth of the fact of the matter is that there's a lot of people before them that have put out stuff, so they have a lot to go off of to know what not to do. You know what I mean? And then, one of the big things about the Guggen Squad that I think is really, really awesome is that they've inspired a lot more younger people to get involved in fishing. Because, dude, whenever they do because they have the big Fun and Sun boat show out in Hearst at Fun and Sun Boats every year, and I've gone to the last.
You gonna go this next year?
Yeah, absolutely. I went
I'll
last
see
year.
you there. I'm actually going to be there for Douglas Rods next year, so I'll see you there. Awesome.
Yeah, man, I go every year, and dude, it's crazy, man, how many people show up to that thing to meet these guys. I got to meet a ton of people, that were fans of me, and that
I got there just after you left. I'm like, where's this guy who's 7 foot tall, and I don't see him. If I don't see him when I come out the door, he's not here.
Man, and it's crazy, man, when I think about it, that certain level of celebrity, I guess you can call it. It's I never would have thought that I would be a this type of celebrity, I guess you could call it, or anything like that. But dude, it's crazy, man. Like, we'll go places and people like TBFD, like I'll hear them and I'm just like, hey, what's up? Like, it's crazy, it's a really good feeling. It has its negatives as well, but I mean, 99.9% of it is positive. But yeah, man, it's just really cool. Like the Guggen Squad is a solid group of dudes, man. Those dudes are really smart, and again, that's nothing, I mean, I know there's a lot of people that hate them, that's out there, and it's for a lot of really crazy reasons. But I mean, at the end of the day, the truth is the guys make quality products, man. They don't put out bad stuff. They put out well thought out stuff, and they do a good job at it, man. And it's like, they make some goofy videos here and there, but
I mean, I'll be honest with you, like, and I like to be honest, because I feel like as a podcaster, I view it from a journalistic standpoint. I can't just agree with what everybody says, and I can't point out with something I don't think it's right. And with that being said, I did have some objections at first, and I know he's changed his style, but I objected a lot to, and I say without the respect, I understand he's successful. I'm not hating on his success, and I hope he keeps growing. But I did have some objections with the way Perrick managed a couple of things that would happen, of him getting kicked out of a plane, getting kicked out of a hotel, getting kicked out. I thought, and I still watch some of his videos. The first video he did at the beginning of the year, this year, was a day after, I think a couple of days after the whole, and we'll touch into that. Somebody from Catchco jumped ship and decided to crap a lot on Guggen Baits and Catchco. And I'm not going to mention who it is, but
we know.
And Alec Perrick made a video, which I thought it was interesting because he was a reflection of like clickbait. So he kind of understood, like, this is, I'm getting tired of the hatred. Yeah. Which I don't think it's one. I don't think you should go as far as hatred. But I did have some objections of him just doing a lot of clickbait videos. Mind you, because I saw other YouTubers following that. Yeah. Alec Perrick was the first one with MTB or Catchco. And then the whole Guggen Squad followed. So a lot of kids out there thought, oh, that's the way to grow. Yeah. There was some guy particularly, and I'm not going to say name, in Florida, which I watched some of his videos, and I was upset about him going into private properties and just looking for him to get kicked out so he can post a video on it. And then you try to, as much as you try to edit it and look like you're the victim, you can still, it's like, that's what I don't like. And I say with all due respect, I hope Alec Perrick continues to grow. And I'm not hating on him. I have the respect for him. I respect the success he's had. And he's changed his videos a little bit when it comes to that. And that's something I tell people. If you want to start with that, keep in mind, that's only going to get you so far until it backfires.
It really is. And the thing is, a lot of people don't really understand this is like, regardless of how small or how big your platform is, there's always somebody from some company, that, because that's the thing, like, a lot of these guys that are, that are out here that are doing this, or they're trying to get started in this industry and things like that, they're doing that stuff. They're going out here and fishing these private locations and, getting kicked out and getting the police called on them, security rolling up on them, for views, posting these videos, crazy thumbnails, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Oh, we got kicked out of so-and-so. Oh, we almost got arrested, blah, blah, blah. Well, the thing about it is, at the end of the day, a lot of these people don't understand is that, you are a representation of what you could potentially be for any brand or company that may be out there that may be looking at you to work with you at some point in time. And they see you posting videos like that, and it instantly makes you put you in a spot where you're not really of value to them, because they don't want somebody that's out here trespassing, that's breaking the law, representing their company. And the thing is, because it looks bad on them. And for instance, like I work with, Private Water Fishing, which is a company right here in DFW, shameless plug. They've got about 88 private lakes throughout the entire state of Texas, and some in Oklahoma as well. I mean, literally some of the nicest and best bass fisheries in the state of Texas, period. And, these are all private lakes, that are owned by private land owners. They're not owned by, this company. They're owned by people that own the land, and they decide, hey, yeah, I'll work with you. People can come fish my lake, but you have to pay me blah, 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 X amount of dollars every whatever.
Which is the right.
Yeah, of course. But, when you think about it, like if I was a person that was out here, jumping fences and, fishing, private property and doing all this other stuff, getting kicked out, getting the cops calling me and things like that. Well, if one of those private landowners, me working with private water fishing, caught wind of that and saw that, private water fishing would lose that business, because they would be like, well, you have a guy that, you basically support trespassing. Well, my land is private. So essentially, if nobody was here, nobody was looking, I'd have to worry about this guy potentially, if he found out where my property was, he could probably come out here and try to fish my lake without me knowing, or something like that. That puts a bad taste in people's mouth, and it's not a good look. So, I mean, that's something to think about, for the people that are out there that are, thinking about getting into this industry, or, thinking about fishing or whatever it may be, is like, try to stay away from, the illegal activities when it comes to trespassing and things like that, because it's not good. Yeah, you may get some views and, you may get some engagement.
Get you popular, but won't get your respect.
It's definitely not going to get you any respect out there in the game. Because, I mean, everybody, of course, we see the signs everywhere we go. I'm not going to sit here in front like I haven't fished in places that I'm not supposed to fish, because I have. But, at the end of the day, like, you have to learn that there's a difference between doing the right thing and doing the wrong thing. And it's always just better to just do the right thing at the end of the day. I mean, yeah, you may sneak into this place and you may have the best day of your life fishing. But I mean, if you get caught, get in trouble, you get a trespassing charge or something like that. Was it worth it in the end? Because I mean, you're stuck with that for the rest of your life. So, those are just things to think about.
No amount of followers or sponsorship can substitute your character or your perception of character.
Of course not, man. And that's something that means a lot to me, is how my character and what, people perceive of me as a person, because of the type of person that I am. Like I'm happy to know that I have a lot of people's respect, and that people, believe in my character. They know that I have integrity and things like that, because I mean, that's what my brand is built on, is things like that. I'm not out here just doing this just for the heck of it at the end of the day.
Real quickly, I want to just, because we know we're talking for an hour, and I wanted you to get a chance to, you have done some charity stuff that I want to talk about too, and I don't want to take too long. It's been a great conversation, but I wanted to touch real quick, because you and I talked at the beginning of the year. So January 1st, some YouTuber posted a video accusing Ketch, I don't know if it's Ketch or Google Baits, of copying others. I saw the whole video. I thought it was laughable. Because there's only so much you can change out of a crankbait.
Yep.
Okay? There's a lipless crankbait. At the end of the day, we're all copying nature. And I think it was in the 12-minute mark, I thought it was funny when the person said, This is exactly the same, except for the gills, the scales, and the bill and the paint. Well, what else? What else is there? You just said it. You just mentioned three things. It's exactly the same, except for this, this, and this. Well, what else is there? It's a crankbait.
Yeah.
And as this video came along, it says like it seems like you're a little bit more salty about Guggen Squad getting more camera time than you are with Catchco than it is really about you or your integrity that supposedly that Catchco is copying 6 Sense. And I thought it was just laughable. I thought it was stupid. You and I talked the day after that happened.
For sure.
I don't know if you remember on social media, I told you, hey man, I know you're involved with it. Are you going to come out with a statement? And you said, I was thinking about it. And you came out with what I thought was very diplomatic and very just be diplomatic and professional statement, because at the end of the day you're associated with Catchco and you it's your name out there, and this person is basically accusing of everybody else that's doing that. Well, you're selling out because this company's a sellout, and you didn't mention names. You went about it with without mentioning names. Everybody know who you're talking to, and you didn't attack the person or the character. You just said, I believe in Catchco because this and this.
For sure.
That's my point of view. And I thought you handle it massively. And that's one of the things. That's when before that, I started following you, but it gave me a lot more respect for what you were doing. So I wanted to give you a shout out for that, because I thought that was stupid. To me, if a product is catching fish, I don't care who it is. Like right now, you get a lot of cult followings. I get it. Some people are cult followers for Guggen Squad. That's awesome.
Yep.
If the Bandito bug is catching me fish, I don't care. It's catching me fish. I don't care who made it. I don't care if it's 6 Sense. I don't care if it's Guggen Squad.
People get caught up in the names, man.
People get caught up in the fun. Like the company's out there to sell. They don't necessarily care that much about you as an individual. They just want to build a product. And I give props to Catchco, because even on their Instagram, they explain why. I remember one of my favorites one is why their jig is built that way. Yep. And it was different from other jigs. And they explained these are the reasons. They numbered it. The hook is this side because if you want to cast long, you need a bigger hook if you want to set on a hook on a jig. If you're rolling it in, those little crates on the back make it, there was a lot of stuff. Even with their spook, you have a breakdown on Instagram of why their spook was built the way they are. And I give respect to that. It's not, they easily could have just right on the cold sale of the Guggen Squad. It says, hey, get some products from China. And let's sell it at half the price they are. People will still eat them up and will still buy them. But they didn't. They're like, no, we're still going to build a product and we're going to show why that product is. I'm not just going to show a big fish with my bait on it. That's the influence job. Their job is to explain why we built this particular bait in this certain way. And I have a lot of respect for that. And to me, it's all the same thing. If it's working, if it's catching, I'm using it. I don't care who made it.
For sure.
That's I think, again, I give you props for handling the way you did. But before I let you go, I wanted to talk to you. You do a lot of things with the community, both as individual. We mentioned it. You and I talked before, and you've helped me out. You give me advice. You did the same thing. Terrence from Pond Boys mentioned the same thing. Smith, I think it's mentioned it before as well. Weston Smith, I think his name is. A lot of these people, influencers, give props to you for the way you go about, going the extra mile to help them. And you've also done some charity work to help with kids from autism. And I wanted to bring that to my listeners, because I think that's also important. If you can touch a little bit about that, what has inspired you to do that, and what is it that the goal that you want to do with that charity?
For sure, most definitely. So a lot of people may or may not know, but my son has autism. He's 13. He'll be 14 in November, and he's my stepson, through marriage. But I mean, he's my kid. I pretty much raised him since he was 5 years old, so he's my kid. But but yeah, I mean, it's like, he really changed my life, man. To be honest, it's kind of crazy. When I met my wife, I didn't know anything about, children. I mean, I take that. I knew about kids with special needs because being in the military, I would volunteer for the Special Olympics every year. We would host them on
Nice.
Fort Stewart, and coaching, kids with special needs and things like that, from all different types of disabilities or abilities, not disabilities, but these kids would, have, everything from Down syndrome, to autism, to whatever it may be, so working with kids with special needs has always been something that I really enjoyed and I really love to do. And, then obviously when I met my wife and things like that, my son found out he had, he had autism, he had been diagnosed when he was 2 years old. But, you know, growing this platform, building, this brand the way that I have, I've met a lot of really cool people and I've met a lot of really cool organizations. And, working at Raising Cane's, there's a guy that works there that he's a part of this organization called Austin's Autistic Adventures. He also has autism. He's an adult. I think Joseph is he's in his 20s maybe, but so I had found out about this organization probably a little bit over a year ago, and they were up there doing a tour of our Plano headquarters, and I got to talking to Austin's mother, who runs the organization, and she was like, yeah, we're a not for profit organization right here in DFW that they support young adults on the autism spectrum, everything from Asperger's to autism, whatever it may be, anything, whatever it is on the spectrum, and they've got a bunch of young adults that are in the program, and it's something that my son actually could benefit from whenever he turns 16, whenever, because that's the youngest that they allow. But they do everything from job shadowing to tours. They do everything. It's really about bringing autism to the world, and then the world to autism. That's really what it's about. Is really getting them exposure to the world around them, and getting the world around them exposed to them, because a lot of people don't really understand autism, or what it may be, or what they think it is, or they have a really crazy misconception of what autism is, so they don't really understand it. But so I partnered with Austin's Autistic Adventures, as me and Charlie were thinking about just something, because TBFD, the brand TBFD gang, again, is, for me, it's always been more to it than just fishing. It's not always just about, just going out here and fishing and making videos and whatever else and building this massive following and working with all these cool companies and all this other stuff. It's about community. It's about, giving something back, being able to give something back to the community. And, because at the end of the day, I've taken a lot from, the fishing community. The fishing community has embraced me with open arms, and, I try to give something back, as much as I possibly can, whether it's through charitable contribution or whether it's through my time or whatever it may be. But, so I partnered with Austin's Autistic Adventures. I reached out to them and I was like, hey, I let them know who I was, what I did and everything like that. And I was like, I work for Raising Cane, so, I know about your program or your organization. And, I was like, I would love to partner with you guys for a charity campaign. I'd like to design a t-shirt, and because Autism Awareness Month is April. So a lot of people don't know that either. April, the whole month of April is Autism Awareness Month. So I was like, I want to run a charity campaign for the month of April where I'm going to design a t-shirt, and I'll sell that t-shirt on my website, and I'll donate 100% of the profits that are made from that t-shirt to your organization. And they were head over heels blown away by it, because this was right around that time that COVID kicked off, and they were unable to really do a lot of stuff because they were, the situation had everybody locked down. You couldn't really go anywhere. A lot of stuff closed. So that put really, really put them in a tough spot when it came to funding as well. So they also have a lot of, young adults that work with them whose, families don't have a ton of money either, so that they can't, donate a lot to this organization, to keep it, funded, so that they can keep doing a lot of cool stuff all the time. So I was like, well, this is a great opportunity to really do something like that and really be able to give something to you guys to really help you out, even if it's a few $100s. Well, I reached out to a buddy on Instagram that helped me design a t-shirt, with the help of my son. He helped. We came up with a really cool design, and my buddy knocked it out of the park. Absolutely knocked it out of the park. And got the t-shirt set up and everything like that. And we ended up generating a $1,000 donation for this company, or for this nonprofit. And we donated that to that nonprofit in the name of TBFD gang. So it wasn't, it wasn't from me. It was from everybody. It was from TBFD gang. The whole TBFD family is what I would consider it. From my platform and everything like that. It wasn't from Brandon Mays to, Austin's Autistic Adventures. It was from TBFD gang to, Austin's Autistic Adventures. But yeah, we donated $1,000 to them. And the plan is to do that every single year, so, next year, 2021, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to partner with them again. And, hopefully continue to partner with them for the foreseeable future. We'll design another shirt next year. And the shirt was a limited edition, obviously. So you can only buy it for Autism Awareness Month. And, so, we'll design another t-shirt in January, March, February time of next year, have everything launched and ready to go by March, so that, everybody can have their shirts and get them by the time April rolls around. But man, that campaign got a ton of support. It was crazy. It was really awesome to see how many people supported that campaign. I mean, it was really awesome just to see how many people really just supported my, my merchandise as a whole, just period. I mean, it was really cool to see, even though, I started, I don't drop a lot of merch here and there, but, a lot of people bought it, and I mean, it was really great to see people that love to represent my brand, and I can't see people out rocking it, and, people send me pictures of them wearing it and things like that. It's just really awesome, man, to see that. And then it's really, really great to see people rocking that autism awareness shirt. Cause I mean, we rock ours on a regular basis. And I mean, just to see people, it's a guy that follows me. His son also has autism. He's always wearing the shirt. He calls it as his lucky shirt. He wears it every time he's fishing, man. And he catches so many fish with this shirt on, man. And he sends them to me all the time, man. It makes me so happy. But yeah, man, definitely plan on partnering with Austin's Autistic Adventures again next year, and do that campaign again. Hopefully, we can raise $2,000 next year.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, man, that'll be amazing. So we'll see how it goes, but I'm looking forward to it.
Speaking of shirts, I got to give you, before I let you go, I'll give you time to do some shout outs, some selfless plug. But speaking of shirts, I know you can't, for those that watching on YouTube, I got the official Buckets.
That Buckets t-shirt.
I got from TBFD. I bought this as soon as they came out. Tell us a little bit about your merch, man. I know you got some merch, cool merch out there. I love it. And I also want to give you an opportunity to thank those companies that have been business partners with you, if you want to give them a shout out. Also, if you have family, friends that you also want to give a shout out, go ahead. But let's start off with your merch, man, because I love it. Go ahead, tell us a little bit about that. Where can people find it? Where can people follow you? Where can people follow the merch and all that? Sorry, I interrupted.
For sure, man. So, the merch is on shoptbfd.com. Got a lot of really cool stuff on there, mostly t-shirts and hats at this point. Originally I had like jackets and hoodies and things like that on there, but started kind of downsizing to the stuff that was more popular. But I do all my own design work, so I design all my own merch and everything like that. But everything is up on the website. Everything's reasonably priced. We got a lot of really dope stuff that's on there, man. People love a lot of the stuff that's up there. So that Buckets t-shirt is extremely popular.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, you can follow me on Instagram, That Bass Fishing Dude, all one word, no spaces. YouTube, same, That Bass Fishing Dude, all one word, no spaces. I don't upload a lot on YouTube, but when I do, it's always some quality stuff. So
it is.
If you're looking for constant uploads, I'm not that guy. Just to let you know off the rip. But I do post a lot on Instagram. I'm always on Instagram, whether it be posting constantly. I'm very engaging, so I do reply to everyone that
you do. I can attest to that.
Yeah, if you drop a comment or if you DM me, I respond to everybody. Also, what was I about to say? Oh yeah, man! Huge monster shout out, man, to my wife. Man, my wife has been amazing. She hasn't always been like super duper 100% supportive of my thing, because it does take a sacrifice, but she's gotten there, man. She's been solid behind me, man, pushing me to do things, and keep going and things like that. She's been there for it. So huge shout out to her, man. Shout out to my kids. Huge shout out to every single one of my partners, man. Ketch Co, man, they've been a blessing from day one. Probably they were actually my very, very first partnership I ever had, and they believed in my vision, man, and they continue to believe in my vision, and they've helped me kind of achieve a lot of things that I didn't think possible. Mystery Tackle Box, Carl's Bait and Tackle, Temple Fork Outfitters, man, huge shout out to the family over at TFO. Some of the best rods in the industry, man, in my opinion, period. Great group of people that work over there. Very small company, man, with a huge heart, man, and they're excellent, man. The fishing industry needs more people like them in it, for sure. Huge shout out to Yakima Racks, CBI Off Road, Method Wheels. Who else, man? I got so many, man. It's man, the Rod Glove, man. Huge shout out to the Rod Glove. Shady Rays, man. That's another company, man, that I absolutely love working with. Shady Rays has been a huge partner of mine for a very, very long time, man, and they got a lot of really great stuff going on. They believe in my vision as well. And for every pair of shades that you buy from Shady Rays, they provide 10 meals to help fight hunger in America.
That's very good.
Yeah, man. They provide 10 meals for every pair of shades that you purchase. So if you're looking to get some solid, man, some of the best, in my opinion, the best polarized shades, stylish shades at that on the market, man, be sure to check out shadyrays.com. Use code BASS at checkout, save 25% off a pair. What else, man? I got
Private Lakes.
Oh, yeah.
You already mentioned it, but yeah.
Private Water Fishing, man. That's another great company out here. If you're in the Texas area, if you live in Texas, lower Oklahoma, and you're looking to get on some great fishing, whether it's crappie, bass primarily, man, Private Water Fishing is where it's at, man. Great membership-based company right here in DFW. You definitely check them out, privatewaterfishing.com. Tell them TBFD sent you. What else, man? We got Blackfire Incorporated, man. They make power supplies and lights and things like that. These guys help me out with my lighting and all my camping gear and things like that for my electricity to keep me powered up when I'm on the go.
Awesome.
Yeah, man.
Fun and Sun Tackle. I know you're a big fan of them. I'm a big fan of Fun and Sun Tackle.
Yeah, man. Fun and Sun is a great company as well, man. Those guys over there are awesome. Columbia PFG, man. Academy Sports and Outdoors, another set of great people that I've been working with for a good while now. Man, love it. But yeah, other than that, man, I think I hit everybody for the most part.
Well, man, I appreciate you taking the time. Go follow that bass fishing dude. You can say you're following the tallest kayak angler in the world.
Tallest fisherman in the world.
Fisherman, period. What are you, like 7 feet flat or
seven feet tall, man? The tallest fisherman in the world.
There you go. Man, I really appreciate you, Brandon, for joining me on the show. Like I said, I'm a huge fan of what you're doing. I look forward to, to watching you keep growing your platform, and seeing what's next, man. It's exciting to watch your posts. I can really mention this with all due honesty, is you have some of the best pictures, beautiful pictures, and they really do stand out from the rest of the pictures you see on Instagram. Huge shout out. I'm not going to ask you what your secret is. I think you hinted on it already, but give you props to that, man. Go follow that bass fishing dude. Awesome, beautiful Instagram account, great contact. And if you have anything, this dude, I'm telling you, he'll answer any of your questions. Give him a shout out. Send him a DM. He'll answer you. If he's busy, just give him a day or two. But even he won't even take a day to answer you. He'll answer you as quick as he can. Great guy to talk to. So, man, I really appreciate all you do for the community, all your charity work, and the way you really responsibly handle the social media. I think you're a great ambassador, and I think all young anglers out there should follow you and see you as an example of if they really want to get into a social media thing, this is the right way to go about it. So thank you again for all you do, man, and keeping the industry, going in a very organic and responsible manner.
For sure, man. I didn't forget anybody, but man, I want to give also a huge shout out to my day ones, man. I want to give a huge shout out to Chef Bad Bass, Aaron Valamon over at Capitol Grill. Obviously, I got to give a humongous shout out to the bro Charlie, that Digital Wells, man. I appreciate you.
I'm gonna put the Academy Music Award show pretty soon. Yeah,
man. And then huge shout out to the bro Torrance, man. That's that's the game right there. And I appreciate all of them guys, man. For real.
That testament to all the hard work you've done, man. When you have that many people backing you up, it's for a good reason. So again, thank you so much, dude. For those out there listening, it's been a long show, but well worth listening to. So thank you for made it this far. And once again, DouglasOutdoors.com. Check them out to see their full lineup of rods. So this has been the Bass Kayak and Beer segment on the Paddle and Fin Network. Have a good night. Stay safe. Wear your PFDs and peace.